Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Kassia. On this channel, we discuss all aspects of the ascension process. I have a variety of services that I offer to assist in your awakening journey, and you can find those listed in the description box below. So today we're going to be doing the weekly astrological forecast for the week beginning September 26th and ending October 2nd. And this is a really big week. There's a lot of energies going on. It took me a little while to wrap my head around all of these and put these into a cohesive format for you guys. So I'm warning you right now, it's a lot. I'm going to do my best to timestamp this video after I post it so you can go to the different days. We're going to be talking about the overriding energies of the week and then breaking down each day with the different energies that we may experience each day. We are building up to next week, which is going to be huge as well, with that new moon, with Pluto, with Saturn turning direct. Once we hit October, man, the energies are really cranking up. So everybody, hold on to your seats. It's going to be a ride as we begin finishing out this year of 2021 in the Muggle calendar. Just lots going on. So as I said, bear with me as we go through these different energies. We also have Mercury going retrograde beginning today. And what day am I filming this? I think I'm filming it. I actually have to check my calendar now. I think I'm filming it on the 26th. Yeah, so today into tomorrow, depending on who's calculating, we have Mercury turning retrograde. So that is, of course, a big energy. And I am planning on doing that Mercury retrograde video after this one. So that one should be out very shortly after this one gets released so that you guys have more of a feel for the energy of Mercury retrograde. We're not going to get deep into that energy in this video. There's going to be a whole video dedicated to that. But yes, Mercury has turned retrograde and will be for the next few weeks. And so we're going to be feeling that energy. We're going to be feeling that when it's in the sign of Libra, right? So when it comes to relationships, when it comes to any areas of our hearts and our minds, right? Because Mercury rules the mind, that are needing that restoration of harmony and balance. We're going to be noticing where we're out of balance so that we can bring ourselves back into balance. We're going to be seeing things and understanding, processing information, communicating from a different perspective. And so we just want to keep that in mind as we're going through the next few weeks. We also have those traditional things that come with Mercury retrograde. You want to make sure that you're backing up your work, technology, and these types of things are ruled by Mercury, and so we may experience fluctuations, I guess we could say, with these things. So just to keep that awareness in our minds as well. And as I said, we're going to be going much deeper into the energies of this Mercury retrograde in Libra in the Mercury retrograde video. But it is a very powerful Mercury retrograde, really closing out a season of retrogrades, going through all the air signs and ending with Libra, right? We had that Aquarius Mercury retrograde at the beginning of the year, and then we had the Gemini one, and now we have the Libra one. So really rewiring our minds. This whole year has been about that. Very, very powerful stuff. And really now understanding that balance and harmony, like we said, when it comes to relationships, that being one of the primary focuses of this Mercury retrograde, and just that harmony and balance in general. All right, so aside from the Mercury retrograde, we have some other energies going on this week. We have a lot of sextiles happening and a lot of planets and air signs. Sextiles are very mental aspects. They're very stimulating. So between that, the Mercury retrograde in an air sign, a bunch of other planets that we have in air signs, there's going to be a lot of that mental energy going on, a lot of stimulation. And so we want to take extra care of our nervous systems. We may be prone to more anxiety. It may seem like things are moving really fast, or that our heads are kind of spinning. So we want to stay super grounded. We want to stay, I'm being guided to say super hydrated, which we know is important. We want to really take care of ourselves, and we want to really be meditating, listening to binaural beats, utilizing sound healing, all of these different ways that we can really relax that nervous system, even possibly for some looking into supplements to help the nervous system. Just in general, I'm feeling with this ascension and all the rewiring of all aspects of our being, right? Our physical bodies, our energetic bodies, our minds. We need that support. So that may be a general thing for some people, just looking into adrenal support, any of those types of things. Really trying to make sure that we're getting a lot of rest. We may feel really restless. And I've already been noticing this, that my sleep, which has been funky anyway, is getting even more funky. And there is that energy of restlessness. The other night I got like 5 hours of sleep and I woke up and it literally felt like my body was buzzing. There was just so much energy moving through it. My mind, my body, just like on overdrive. So breathing, taking those deep conscious breaths, also going to be very helpful as we move through the next week. Yeah, there may be a lot of developments. There may be things coming to light. There may be a lot of communication coming through because we have all of this air energy going on. And as we said, we're feeling also that powerful energy as Saturn and Pluto really slow down. And it's funny because Pluto's slow anyway, right? But slow down even more, preparing to turn direct. And we're going to talk about this more in the video next week. But it was really interesting. Somebody sent me an article and it added up to me because Pluto takes it's 200 something years to do a revolution around the zodiac. But according to this article, sorry, I got distracted there. According to this article, Pluto is going to be reaching 27 degrees of Capricorn within the next few months. And the last time that Pluto was at 27 degrees of Capricorn was during the American Revolution. So let that sink in for a minute. This is a Pluto return for the United States. Many consider it because that is really when this country was founded, when it was created. And so we're seeing the makings of a second coming of that. Pluto bringing that in, especially going direct, and then after turning direct, moving to 27 degrees of Capricorn a couple months later. Really, really big, powerful energy there. So, yeah, like I said, we'll talk about that a little more next week. But we're feeling those energies coming in. We're feeling those energies coming in on top of everything else. Some major aspects that we have, and I will mention on the certain days when we go through when they are perfecting, but they're going to be within range of each other, these aspects that I'm about to talk about, all week. So we're going to be feeling them all week long. And the first one is a trine between Venus and Neptune. And remember, Neptune has been sextile Pluto for a really long time now. I actually have the dates written down here. Roughly 1948 was when this sextile with Neptune and Pluto began, and it's going to go through roughly 2029. And this is because Neptune and Pluto move very, very slowly, right? They are the outermost planets. This is why they have such a powerful influence on especially the collective energy, is because they are so slow, right? It's that slow burn kind of an energy. So Neptune sextile Pluto is a big deal. It's a big energy. This is the energy of psychic activation, right? This is the energy that reminds us and helps us to understand the shadow and the importance of bringing the shadow to light and integrating it with the fullness of the being in order to step into our full power and potential as souls. So really big, profound, powerful energies. The way that we understood the psyche once Pluto was introduced, and then especially once Pluto moved into this sextile with Neptune, the more we got interested in the psyche and the shadow and these aspects of the self and the importance of the integration of these aspects of the self, of the shadow in the soul's evolution. So really big and really growing our psychic powers and abilities. So this has been underway for a long time, and we have a connection between this sextile and the Venus Trine Neptune energy, because both Venus and Neptune are sextiling Pluto. And the Venus sextile Pluto energy is not exact until the end of the week, but it's still within a few degrees, so we're going to be feeling it all week. So this is a really powerful, powerful aspect that we're having here. And I am going to be reading quite a bit from my notes, because you guys, once we get into this, you'll understand it's a lot of information. It's way too much for me to remember off the top of my head here. So yeah, that awareness to the shadow. And so Venus trine Neptune, this is a really beautiful aspect, right? This is a very harmonizing aspect. This is where we really appreciate beauty in our lives. We appreciate all the ways that we can make our lives and other people's lives more beautiful. We're really tapping into the energy and the attributes of our higher selves. But remember, Venus is in Scorpio. And so, especially where there's connections being made to Pluto, which rules Scorpio, there's still a lot of that shadow energy, a lot of that truth energy too. So it's all about being true to ourselves, being true to our souls, being honest with ourselves about our needs and our desires, and what it is that we find truly beautiful in the world, what it is that we find to truly have value, and where it is that we feel and how it is that we feel most connected to our souls. There's going to be this big push and this big move to connect more deeply with our souls and connect with more people on a soul-to-soul level as we move through this. And there are going to be shadow desires and energies coming to the surface. With this Venus energy, relationships and finances, especially with Mercury retrograde in Libra as well, which is very much about those relationships and this balancing energy, this harmonizing energy, where those are areas where this shadow energy may come to the surface the most clearly. And we're going to be moving through this energy with Venus as she begins with this trine to Neptune. And then she moves through, she exacts, like I said, her sextile with Pluto near the end of the week. And in the beginning and in the middle here, she makes a square to Jupiter. So really seeing and understanding any of the shadow energies that need to be exposed when it comes to our sense of self-love, when it comes to our finances, our abundance, when it comes to our relationships, our ability to connect, our ability to have true intimacy both with others and with ourselves. Right? Because until we can be truly intimate with ourselves, it's very difficult to be truly intimate with another. So we're really going to be seeing these energies playing out and sort of unfurling any blocks that we have, any shadow energies that need to be exposed coming to the surface so that we can move through them and transmute them, which is, of course, that alchemizing energy, that transmutation energy, which is the signature, that regenerative energy of Pluto and Scorpio. Another active aspect that we're going to be having this week is a massive grand air trine. And when I say massive, I mean massive. I mean, we have a ton of different planets and astrological bodies involved in these grand air trines. We have the Sun, we have Ceres, we have the North and the South Node, we have Mars, we have true black moon Lilith, and we have Saturn. So all of these entities and energies that are in a giant, so a grand trine is when it's just like a gigantic trine, basically, that is fully connected within this the elements. So this is within the sign of air. And so we have planets here at all the points, the air points in Aquarius, in Gemini, in Libra, which is very fitting as we're in this third Mercury retrograde, which is doing what? It is revolutionizing the way we think, the way we perceive and process information, the way that we communicate, the way that our minds work in general. And so this is really supportive energy. This is really beautiful energy with all of these grand trines here. So here we have a harmonization of our will and our drive, our consciousness, our path forward in life, the lessons we have learned and the karma we have healed and cleared, as well as our ability to move out of a state of repression and suppression into a fuller expression of ourselves. So we're going to be feeling very empowered and inspired to move forward, putting the lessons we've learned around self-care and our ability to express who we are in the world at the forefront. In these air signs, we're gaining a deeper experience and understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. And we're not afraid to talk about it, you guys. We're not afraid to share, and we are meant to share what it is that we're learning and beginning to understand. Because there's somebody out there who needs to hear what you have to say. There's somebody out there who will benefit from your experience, from the wisdom that you have gained through your own healing process, through your own empowerment process, through your own process of learning how to care for yourself, how to nurture yourself, how to set boundaries. That boundary energy is going to be coming in very strongly, especially as we move through the week. And in Libra season, this is a strong overall energy in general. If you guys haven't checked out the Libra season, Sun and Mars and Libra video, I highly suggest that you do. And speaking of the Sun and Mars, they are within orb of each other. They're going to be making their exact conjunction actually on the 3rd of October. So that's going to be next week. But they're within a few degrees of each other, and we're feeling this activation of the Sun and Mars throughout the week. And they're actually in a loose opposition to Chiron and Aries throughout the week. And we're going to have the Sun exacting its opposition with Chiron and Aries, and Mars exacting his opposition with Chiron and Aries as we move through the week. And that'll be noted in the daily overview of the energies. But this is really powerful energy. This is our will. This is our drive. This is our consciousness, the way we see ourselves and our ability to exert our will in the world. But also in the sign of Libra, it's very much about fairness and justice, and really seeing and understanding where we can apply and how we can apply that fairness and justice as we move through our lives, as we navigate this human experience. And with that opposition to Chiron, it's also that energy of our independence, our own empowerment. How do we act from a place of empowerment while at the same time being fair and just, and taking into consideration the needs of others as well, taking into consideration the collective, right? How do we do that? How do we be fiercely and authentically ourselves? How do we go after what it is that we want, what it is that we desire, right? Our dreams and our goals, which were gifted to us from spirit as a compass to lead us through this life. How do we go after and pursue those things while at the same time remaining in harmony with the world around us? So a big energy this week, really reaching its peak on the 3rd. Well, actually peaking in different times, but reaching the Sun and Mars energy, reaching its peak on the 3rd. All right, what else do we have? We have a bisextile going on between Saturn, the Sun, and the South Node this week as well. This is an ongoing energy that we're going to be feeling. So we have the Sun trine Saturn, and we have sextiles going on between both and the South Node. So the Sun and Saturn sextile the South Node. Remember, the South Node is the past. It is past energies and experiences. So this is powerful because this is where we're moving out of an old storyline. Right? And we all have these old storylines, and we get addicted to these stories, and we allow these stories to define us. These stories about what happened to us, these stories about things that happened, right? And yes, the things, the experiences that we have had have helped to mold us into the people that we are, but we don't have to be defined by them. We get so attached to a story sometimes that we've outgrown it and become a different person, but we don't even realize it, and we can't fully step into that because we're still addicted and attached to this old story of who we used to be, of what happened to us, right? And so it's that energy of moving out of that old story, moving out of that old version of ourselves, releasing our attachment to that, releasing our attachment to the past, right? And the things that have happened in the past, and really getting an opportunity to rewrite our stories. Who am I now? Right? Not who was I, not what happened to me, which we know actually happened for me, right? But like, who am I now and where am I going now? So really closing out those old storylines, which is really, really powerful. Releasing those, not identifying ourselves by them any longer. And then we do also have the T-square between Mercury, Eris, and Pluto still active. And this is powerful as it sets off Mercury retrograde. And we talked about that T-square in the video from last week. So if you guys haven't seen that, check out that video from last week. This is a really big, potent energy. And we're going to get into it later on when it happens later in the week. But we have the moon moving into opposition with Pluto and really activating that T-square. So Mercury turning retrograde, and then the moon moving into opposition with Pluto, turning that T-square into a grand cross. Which is the most intense, what's the word I'm looking for? Configuration that you can have in a chart, a grand cross. This is intensely motivating because it's two T-squares together, all connected, all right? So really activating that energy, this energy being activated twice this week. And this is the energy of really moving out of injustice, seeing injustice, not being able to tolerate it, things coming to the forefront, things coming to the surface that have been suppressed or repressed or brushed aside, right? It's bringing attention to what needs attention called to it. And really where this comes to authority, where this comes to, remember, Pluto and Capricorn, people and entities, energies in places of perceived power. And where it is that we are really breaking free, where it is that we are exposing any injustice that may be happening as a result of sort of what Pluto can represent, which is how power can become distorted. So this is intense. And like I said, we're going to talk about this more when we get to that day, which is, like I said, this week's intense. It's always intense, right? But we're riding this out, and we're riding it out together, and we are growing, and we are learning, and we are becoming stronger every single day. All right. So on 9/26, we talked about Mercury moving retrograde. We also, on the 26th, which is today as I'm filming this, we have the Moon conjunct Ceres in Gemini. And so this is a really beautiful energy today with the Moon conjunct Ceres in Gemini. There's that deep desire to nurture and be nurtured. And the way that we are choosing to nurture and be nurtured today may be through communication, right? In the sign of Gemini, we're going to want to talk. We're going to want to connect with people. We're going to want to reach out to people. We're going to want to be that shoulder that they can lean on. We want to be that ear for them. And we also want to share what's going on with us as well. But it is important to note that not all people communicate through words, right? And so this need to communicate in order to nurture and feel nurtured, this communication can come through in a lot of different ways. And we also have here, let me find it. We also have trines to Mars and Saturn. So the moon trining Mars and Saturn, which really sort of brings through this likelihood that some people may be expressing and communicating their nurturing and their love through action today. So just know, it's like when I was writing about this, it reminded me of the love languages. If you guys haven't heard about the love languages, there's 5, I believe. Check that out, because it's really interesting, and it can really help you to understand the different ways that you give and receive love, and the different ways that other people in your life, primarily partners, but anybody really, gives and receives love. Because a lot of times there is a miscommunication because my love language is different than somebody else's. And so we don't realize that both people are showing love equally. It's just we don't necessarily feel loved if we're not receiving love in the same way that we give it, until we understand this. And so I was thinking about the love languages a lot as I was writing this. So for some people, that nurturing energy is coming through action. Right? That's how we're showing that nurturing, and that's how we're wanting to be nurtured. So just pay attention to that, how that's coming through. This is also about nurturing ourselves. So really know that you can take that constructive action to nurture yourself on the 26th, today, as I'm filming this as well. Yeah. Let's see, anything else? The moon is also in a sextile to Chiron today. So there's deep emotional healing that may be coming through, especially when it comes to, like we said, matters of nurturing, matters of setting boundaries, right? With this Saturn energy here and this Mars energy here, boundaries really big. And so this could be an energy where you're finally getting that courage to set strong boundaries, and you're understanding that that's part of that nurturing of yourself. It also could be an energy where, for those who have set boundaries recently with people, and maybe they were a little unhappy about that at first, they may be beginning to understand and appreciate that now. But even if they don't, the energies coming through today are really assisting us in being like, it doesn't matter if you don't like it. I'm doing this because it's important for me, and really feeling good about that and standing firm in that today. So I really like that energy for us. On the 28th, we have that Venus Trine Neptune energy that we were talking about perfecting. So they're going to be at 120 degrees. And this is bringing a highlight to the harmonious effects of this week-long aspect. Sorry, guys. Mercury retrograde. So this is a beautiful day. Like we said, it's a beautiful day to create, to beautify things, to do things that feed the soul. This is one of the strongest days of the week for deep connection with others that goes far beyond the surface. And we are going to see this also when we have Venus sextile in Pluto. But today is a really good day for those strong soul connections, for really nurturing those soul connections, recognizing those soul connections. We're really going to want to feed into that. And something that came through when I was writing about this is that anyone that you meet on or around the 28th is probably, it feels like they are a soulmate. They are somebody, and remember, soulmates aren't just romantic, but a soul that you've known before coming back into your reality. So that was a really beautiful message coming through, like you've known them for many lifetimes. It's very possible that we are bringing in some of those connections, or really recognizing and nurturing those connections that we already have present in our lives. This could also be a day on or around this day where we see that effect of Mercury retrograde that we talk about a lot. People coming back into our lives from the past. We could see that energy coming through, as well as people begin to recognize the value that we had to offer, right? They see our worth, they see our value, they maybe recognize us as some of these soulmates. And some people may want back in from the past. And so though their intentions may be generally good, we just want to practice some discernment with that, right? We don't necessarily need everybody from the past. Even if they have shifted, if they have changed, and you want to entertain that, then absolutely use your discernment where that's concerned. But just know that the energies impact us a lot. So we may be feeling and desiring something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have the follow through. And so if somebody did not have the follow through in the past, don't necessarily expect that that's going to change now, just because these energies really drew them to reach out. Yeah. We also have the Sun in Libra squaring the Moon in Cancer on the 28th. So this brings in an interesting aspect to this energy. It's really interesting when these different aspects overlap, right? So we have that beautiful harmonious energy with Venus trine Neptune, although like we said, with those influencing sextiles to Pluto going on, there is going to be possibly the shadow energy coming out. And here's some of that shadow energy. With the Sun square Moon, especially the Moon in Cancer, which is the Moon in its sign of rulership, so the Moon in its most intense placement, where its energy is the least diluted. So very emotional energy. This aspect, which is squares or tense aspects anyway, may feel a little bit more tense. It's definitely going to be a dreamy energy, right? Moon in Cancer, Venus trine Neptune in Pisces, a lot of that beautiful dreamy energy. But yeah, the square. So it may be bringing something into focus for us. Some area where we realize that something is out of balance with us, especially within our emotional bodies. And this is an energy where we're going to feel really sensitive if we feel like our needs are not being met, as well as to any perceived injustices where this is concerned. We really want safety and security with the Cancer Moon, right? And so if we feel like we're not receiving that, if we have needs that we feel are not being met, or if we have things that just aren't going in our favor in general, we may have an extreme emotional reaction with that today. So we want to pay attention to that reaction, right? Are we able to see things from another's point of view? Are we able to respond instead of react? Or do we just curl right back up into our shell? Do we get sulky? Do we fall into a victim type mind state? These are the things that we just want to observe. And we want to be aware that other people may have tendencies to do that as well. So a lot of deep connection today, on the 28th, a lot of deep emotion going on, a lot of really beautiful, creative, psychic energies, but also people may be feeling a little bit touchy. And we may be feeling a little bit touchy. So just to know that, just to navigate those moods as we may go through those intense moods. Really, also the following day, as we still have the Moon in Cancer here on the 29th. But this is interesting because now the Moon is moving into a sextile with Uranus and Taurus, with light trines to Neptune and Venus. So once again, connecting in with that Neptune and Venus energy, which is really beautiful, very psychic energy, very soft, very dreamy, very romantic energy. But we're being stimulated by this sextile to Uranus. And so we may be actually invited by Uranus to step out of or expand our comfort zone, which is a really beautiful energy, like drawing us. Uranus is drawing us out of our shells. It's broadening our our mind state a little bit. It's really sort of like if you imagine sticking your finger in a light socket, right? That's sort of the supercharge that we're getting to our energy, especially in terms of our psychic abilities with the moon and the Neptune energies in here. So really a great day to meditate, a great day to connect with our guides, with our angels, really utilizing this highly psychic energy. We may be experiencing enhanced downloads today. We're going to be feeling very drawn to what has value to us and possibly expanding our perception of what those things are, and feeling very dedicated to those things that have value to us. This is a really great day to start a creative process and once again to connect with the ones that we love. Additionally, we have the Sun trining Saturn today, this energy is perfecting today. So this is a really great day to set and achieve goals, especially goals where a creative approach or solution is desired, because you're going to have all of that creative energy coming in with Uranus, with these trines to Neptune and Venus, with this Moon and Cancer energy. So you can really find some interesting and innovative solutions today. Today is a day where people may be a little bit opinionated, but there's such a pleasant energy overriding that it's very likely that you can get what you want or need today. You can come to understandings and solutions as long as you make others feel heard, validated, and appreciated. If you're able to do that, then you can really make some progress, some headway in some areas on the 29th. And then on the 30th, we have that Venus square Jupiter energy that we were talking about. And so this is the point where any blocks that we may have in relation to expansion and receiving may be highlighted. That receiving energy, really important. It's also a day where we might tend to go a little bit overboard. So we want to be careful of escapism. We want to be careful of overindulgence. We may have some blocks, apparent blocks being revealed, so that we can work through those, right? So that we can release those. Other people may feel unstoppable. And you may just be feeling completely that Jupiter energy just expanded here. And if that is the case, there's a higher likelihood of making rash decisions. And so you want to think things through a little bit. You want to remember, yes, we are abundant. Yes, we are unlimited. But at the same time, we have to employ some logic when we're making decisions. Prudence and practicality are still good qualities to cultivate. So we want to be working with those qualities as well. We want to allow that big expansive dream, but we want to take concrete steps that are based in, I hate saying based in reality, but that are somewhat realistic, right? We don't want to know that we are abundant, so to go gamble all our money away at the casino, knowing that we just have the intuitive feeling that more money's coming in next week, right? And then not be able to feed ourselves. That's an extreme, and our children. That's an extreme example, but you guys know what I mean. Like, there is a place for practicality and logic. That's why we balance the logic with the intuition, right? The masculine and the feminine, that perfect balance. So if that balance is thrown off today, we want to bring ourselves back to center. Yes, and this is the day as well where we have that grand cross that we were talking about. As the moon moves into opposition with Pluto, activating this T-square with Pluto, Mercury Retrograde, and Aries. And so this is interesting because the moon is really working as a catalyst right now. And remember, this is the moon in Cancer. And so Cancer is our safety, it's our security, it's the home, right? Cancer rules the 4th house, which rules the home, which rules the mother. And so actually, as I'm saying this now, there may be issues, like if you have issues with your mother, right? We're getting a little Freud here, but those may come to the surface today. Or anywhere where you feel as though your own sense of safety and security is being jeopardized. And so this is an energy where we're feeling this collective energy that we talked about with this Mercury, Pluto, Aries energy, right? Where we may be noticing injustice. We may be noticing the way that power has corrupted. We may be noticing the way that our own sovereignty is being compromised or people are attempting to compromise it. We may be noticing a lot of different things. Noticing things that people aren't talking about, right? That aren't being acknowledged. And we've kind of let that go. We've been like, it's not my place. Nobody's going to listen to me anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. Whatever it may be, it's not impacting me. It's not affecting me. So I'm just going to continue on this way for a little bit longer. And when that moon in Cancer comes in, it's bringing this a lot closer to home. And so we may notice ourselves being affected more powerfully by these collective power struggles. By this mind control, right? By all of this fear energy that's being pumped into the collective, right? We may be noticing ourselves getting personally impacted or feeling just much more personally affronted by it. And we may notice microcosms of this energy going in our own lives, in our own home lives, hitting more closely to home, whether it's people who are in positions of power or authority that are exerting that over us or attempting to exert that over us, where it is that we're noticing balance, injustice and inequality, unfairness in our personal lives, in our home lives, and we are feeling this building pressure to do something about it, to say something about it, to stop allowing it, to stop consenting simply through our inaction and our unwillingness to speak out, our unwillingness to do something constructive about it. So this is the energy that we're begin to see hitting a little bit of a boiling point, if you will, as this moon moves in and creates this grand cross aspect. So it's really our personal power, our sovereignty, the sovereignty of our minds, the sovereignty of our bodies and spirits that's really being called into question here. And we're really seeing and noticing where it is that we are being called to take control of our own minds, of our own bodies, right? To really take back our power. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting energy. And what makes this even more interesting is that we have Mars and Libra opposing Chiron and Aries. So we talked about how Mars and the Sun were just about conjunct, and Chiron was going to be opposing these energies and moving into exact oppositions with each of them throughout the week. This is where we have that exact opposition between Mars and Chiron. So this is only intensifying the themes and energies that we just talked about, as well as our need to assert ourselves and find a fair and just solution to any problems, any issues that we may be experiencing or facing or noticing. On October 1st, the moon is now moving into the sign of Leo and opposing Saturn in Aquarius. So this is a really interesting energy. And what makes it even more interesting is that we have various sextiles and trines being made between the moon and Saturn and Ceres, Mars, and Chiron. And so this feels to me like a deep healing of our masculine energy, and really a balancing and healing of the masculine and feminine aspects of our nature, allowing them to work together in better balance and harmony, but largely healing for that masculine energy. But it's like the feminine bringing healing to the masculine energy, really showing the masculine energy, right, how it can call upon the feminine energy in order to become a more divine expression of itself, right? How the masculine energy can be both strong and compassionate, right? Strong and nurturing and loving. How it can be gentle but still be powerful, right? That quiet power. And really helping us to understand and cultivate this notion of power with rather than power over. Power with, when we all come together, this is the feminine version of power. When we all come together and we share and we build each other up and we become more powerful because we are united. Versus power over, where we seek to exert control over another in order to make ourselves feel more powerful, in order to get what it is that we think we need. This is that old dynamic, right, that we are moving out of, that old paradigm of power over. And with that Mercury, Pluto, Aries, Moon, Grand Cross, and the Mercury, Pluto, Aries T-square that we've had last week, still have this week, super activated here. We're really seeing that power over energy and how that has affected us and how it is now beginning to affect us more personally. And so here we call in the healing. What is the healing of that? How do we heal that? So this beautiful healing for the masculine energy here, this beautiful harmonizing of the masculine and the feminine. There's another important influence when we're talking about this Moon in Leo opposing Saturn in Aquarius. And this is an energy that's really teaching us and helping us to understand how to maintain our identity while still being part of a group. This is very much that Leo Aquarius axis energy when we look at both, I call this the energy of expression, or the axis of expression and leadership. So we're really looking at these energies. We maybe have healing coming up around our ability to operate within the constructs of a group setting. How do we do that? How do we collaborate successfully? And also healing coming up anywhere where we've been the victim of a hive mind mentality. And this has been coming up for a while because we have a hive mind situation going on right now. There is that collective indoctrinated energy that we are slowly moving out of as more and more people wake up, right? But we're working through this process right now. It is an unfolding process. But there are many times in this lifetime, in other times where many of us have felt injured due to that hive mind mentality. Right, where we have suffered as a result of that, and then possibly adjusted the ways that we express ourselves, the ways that we speak our truth, the ways that we allow ourselves to shine our light in order not to initiate the same type of reaction from people. So anywhere where we were punished for being different, for thinking different, for speaking differently, for seeing the world differently, and we may have dimmed ourselves down. So this, there is a square going on to Uranus right now as well, with the Moon and Uranus. So this is really highlighting this deep need that we're feeling now to be truly expressive of who we are, to embrace what makes us unique, to really let our light shine, and to share our light and our truth with the world. So there may be energies coming up where we're feeling that restriction, how we're restricted by the collective mind and perceptions, but really also feeling this deeper calling and this deeper need to really break free from those shackles, from those constraints, and to be an example to others that they can speak and think freely, to show them, right? We are the way showers. And so really feeling that desire, that energy, that confidence to do that. Right? Showing people that they don't have to agree with something just because it's the general consensus. And this is the funny thing that came to me too. It's like, how, like, the media and these different outlets, right, manufacture this general consensus, this status quo. But is it even real? Do most of us even agree with that? Or do we all just stay silent and pretend that we agree because we're afraid to rock the boat? Where if we actually spoke up, we would realize that what we perceive to be the status quo isn't even really the status quo. The majority of us actually think and feel and believe differently than what we're being told we think, we feel, and we believe. This is why it's so important to liberate our minds and to be those examples that speak that truth and allow other people to speak theirs, or at least to begin to question the truth that they hold and realize, is this my truth or somebody else's? Right, so this is really powerful energies here. This opposition also may show where we harbor insecurities, where we feel as though we are less than, and some of that can have to do with these energies that we just discussed earlier, right? But we get to look at ourselves, we get to look at any of these issues where they're coming up, right? Of feeling less than, these insecurities, from this beautiful detached point of view of Aquarius. Right, from this higher mind state. So we can really see and appreciate the beauty that's actually there, where we can see and appreciate that what makes us different is our strength, right? And that is meant to be shared. And then we also have just a note here that during the Moon in Leo, we will be craving love and affection, right? Leos are all about the love. They love love. They love to be loved. They love to love. They love to share love. And so we are going to be wanting and needing this. And we are really going to be, there's going to be an aspect of us that is coming up that may be desiring and seeking that validation from others as well. And we kind of just talked about this energy, right? But when we are seeking this love from others, we have Saturn in Aquarius reminding us of this. Share only what is real, authentic, and true. Right? Because if you're wearing a mask, if you're sharing something that is not your truth in order to be loved, if you are pretending to be something, to think something, to feel something that you don't, in order to be loved, then it's not real love anyway. Right? It is a farce. It is a sham. And what we want, what Leo truly wants, is real, authentic, raw love, expression, and creation. All right? So do not dumb or dull yourself down in order to receive this love and validation. Right? Regardless of what wounds you may harbor from the past. Seek out those who value you for who you truly are. And above all else, remember to value yourself. When you value yourself, you naturally begin to attract other people that see your value and see your worth as well. And when people who don't come into your reality, you have those strong boundaries that don't allow them to stay. All right? We don't entertain that behavior anymore. We do not entertain people that make us feel less than. Nobody can make us feel anyway. All right, I'll backtrack and I'll say that. People who seek to make us feel less than. We do not entertain that. We do not entertain people that don't see our worth, whether it's through fault of their own or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if somebody has good intentions if they cannot back those up with actions. Right, with positive actions. And so this is something that we're all beginning to realize, understand, and fully integrate. Okay, on October 1st, we have Venus exacting her sextile to Pluto. And Neptune's influence is fading here. It's still present, but the trine is breaking apart. So we're feeling this Venus sextile Pluto energy very, very strongly. So this is a lot of intensity and stimulation as we begin October, kicking it off with a bang, right, you guys? We may be feeling an abundance of sexual energy today as well. And if that is the case, then we really want to channel that energy in a productive manner. Use that energy for manifestation. Use it for creation. Use it to start a project. There are so many powerful ways that we can harness and utilize our sexual energies. And so just being aware of that and really being aware of how it is that we are spending our sexual energy, right? What are we doing with that energy? And how does that make us feel? Let's see, what else here? Great potential, of course, for growth and transformation, not only when it comes to our sexuality, but of course when it comes to love, relationships, finances, our creative processes, all these things that Venus represents. There is a great potential for drama with all of this intensity, all of this scorpionic, plutonic energy today. So we do just want to be aware of that because remember, Venus is in the sign of Scorpio. Potential for those shadow energies to continue to be brought to light, but really a great potential for transmuting and alchemizing them if we harness the power of this connection, of this sextile here. Interesting that came through too was know that any promises that you make today are meant to be kept, right? This is another day where we are going to be wanting and desiring that deep connection, that deep intimacy, that deep raw connection and intimacy with others, where we're going far below the surface, right? Really deep into the heart, into the thick of it. So we're doing this in our own internal process, and we're wanting to do this with others as well. So we can feel powerfully connected to people. We are going to feel very, like we said, very stimulated, very motivated, but don't make promises that you can't keep because people will take those to heart. Let's see. Also, don't make assumptions today. We have this great ability to penetrate to the heart of matters, to really understand and explore our internal world as well as other people's hearts and minds. But we don't want to assume that we know what's in another's heart and mind, right? We want to ask them. We still want to have that conversation. So don't make any assumptions as well. And then on the 2nd, we have the Sun opposing Chiron exact, right? So this time, now we have Chiron and the Sun having their exact opposition, which is going to be late on the night of the 2nd, moving into the 3rd here in the northern hemisphere. So that's really magnifying those energies that we've been working with all week, that we've been talking about there. We're not going to rehash those energies. Just know that that's like an ignition point, or a point where we're really going to be feeling that energy as well. So that is that desire for justice. That is that desire to act in a way that exemplifies our own integrity and morals, but also is not compromising the self. Then we also have the Moon in Leo opposing Jupiter in Aquarius. And at 22 degrees, which I thought was interesting because 22, the ones, the twos and the zeros are that reworking of the binary code, right? The coding of the matrix. And we have 10-2-2021 with 22 degrees for this aspect. So those twos, those ones, those twos, and those zeros, very heavy today. So yeah, just an interesting aside there. We also had, of course, that major conjunction of Saturn and Pluto at 22 degrees of Capricorn in January of 2020 that really seemed to kick off a lot of the changes that we've been seeing in the world. And like we said, we're going to talk more about Pluto's role and all of that in the astrology forecast for next week. But yeah, the 22 degrees was very interesting. And this is interesting too because the Moon and Leo opposing Jupiter is actually in a T-square with Venus. So we got another T-square going on here. Like we said, a lot of intense aspects this week, you guys. And so True Black Moon is actually lightly opposing this T-square. It's a 6 or 7 degrees between her and some of these planets. So we're not really calling it a grand cross, but she's activating a similar type of energy again by being kind of hanging out where she's hanging out here. So once again, this is it's a similar energy to some of the things that we've been experiencing. It's really about anywhere where we feel our expression, our expansion, and our creativity is being limited. Really bringing that into focus, right? Where are we unable to express ourselves or to be who we truly are? And how does this translate, remember, with Venus into our relationships, as well as for some people into career and finances, right? People may be discovering that they feel very limited and restricted when it comes to the ways that they're able to express and bring through who they truly are in their job, in their career. Any ways that, trying to figure out, how can I get paid to be me, right? Which is the greatest accomplishment that that's what we're meant to do, right? That is what we're meant to do. That's, to me, complete success and fulfillment in the career realm is when I can get paid to be me. And remember, it's not about getting paid. This abundance mindset expands far beyond that, right? But as we still navigate this 3D matrix, for however long we're going to be doing that, there is that energy this energy of money that we're working with. And so it's a great accomplishment to be able to do that, right? Because then when you do that for many people is the last place that they're able to take off the mask. The final piece that gets to be integrated, right? They say that we are somebody else to everybody that we're with at some points in our lives. But from at least my perspective, the ultimate goal is to be able to be who we are 100% of the time with everyone. And for a lot of people, that job, that career is the last place where they feel like they have to put on an act. And so that may be coming up, I'm feeling, as we're talking about this for some people as well. But we're really desiring to enhance the truth and intimacy in our lives. And so we may be expressing this in the form of a project. We may be considering expressing this through a career change. We may be wanting to experience this more deeply in our intimate and close relationships with others. We want to feel more seen and heard for who we truly are. It's also interesting too because we have the South Node in conjunct the vertex today, which is the point of fate in a chart. And so with this point of fate being activated and conjuncted here by the South Node, these energies that we're working on here are very significant and go back lifetimes, right? So there's a really profound shift, a really profound karmic shift, a really profound shift in energy that can happen when we close out these patterns that have gone back through lifetime and lifetime and lifetime. And the way that we deal with these energies and the way that we react to these energies will have an effect on us for many, many years to come. Let's see. Oh, yeah. And then as an aside here as well, we may, with this aspect, We may have our attention being drawn to anywhere in our lives where we tend to go over the top, especially when it comes to finances, when it comes to relationships, even maybe expression, I don't know. So just noticing where we may be a little bit too intense with it and where we can taper back that intensity a little bit, because sometimes we need to. Also, where it is that we may be able to manage our resources better. This is where people who may not be good with money, or may spend frivolously or not manage their finances well, that may come into the realm of consciousness in order to be addressed and worked on and understood. Anywhere where maybe people are a little bit less than receptive in relationships due to our intensity, and even in our career, in any aspect of our lives, we may notice that as well, where these energies could perhaps be finessed a little bit, or where it is, how it is that we want to dial up and dial down that intensity. Yeah. All right, so that is the forecast, and now we are going to pull a crystal card for guidance for this week. And yeah, I will I'll go through and I'll timestamp. Actually, I don't know why I'm saying this at the end of the video. I'm sure that people watching it by now, either you've watched it through the whole thing or you've already found the timestamp, so I'm not gonna announce that. You guys will be able to see it. But what guidance, what crystals do we have that want to come out and play with us to support us as we move through this week's energies? Which crystals want to come out and support us? All right. Green tourmaline. Enlightenment. Ooh, all right. And take that card in for a second. These cards are full of light language. You can see it here. I believe in the design, it feels like light language to me as well. So you can take in, you can receive an activation from this card. You can take in the energy. If you buy this deck, which is the Liquid Crystal Oracle, you can actually do healings with the cards themselves, because they are charged with the energies of the crystals. So it's pretty cool. And they give you all of these different healing trinities that were used back in Atlantean times with different crystals. So really, really powerful. The Atlanteans loved their crystals. So I'm going to read this whole thing to you guys. The Master Crystal Deva of green tourmaline is El-Bai-Elem. El-Bai-Elem. And El-Bai-Elem says, join me. Open the heart and feel the green ray at the great velocity flow through you. Together, let us embrace your earth journey and increase your light-carrying capabilities. Let us ignite the nervous system and allow a higher light quotient. We will accelerate the path to enlightenment. And were we not talking about the nervous system? The power of love realized through my cutting ray. Let us evolve through all manner of disease, holding tight the lesson. Your every fall is a stepping stone, lifting you closer to the great solar angel that you are. I am with you. I stand ever present at your side. My welcomed embrace has lifted you ever closer to your infinite light. Breathe and allow it a home within you permanently. Together now with compassion and peace, we will serve the greater plan to fulfillment in the heart's united threefold fire. That is so powerful. Your every fall is a stepping stone, lifting you closer to the great solar angel that you are. Okay, that's why we say there is no such thing as failure. Let's see here. The energy of green tourmaline is infused directly into the nervous system, where it raises our ability to carry light there. This gives the mineral the healing pathways of higher consciousness and higher general light frequency, resulting in its reputation as the stone of enlightenment. A master healing stone, green tourmaline, can open the heart chakra in the presence of the spirit, which allows peace, trust, compassion, patience, and non-attachment to be found, and expectations to be seen as perceptions that can be released if inappropriate. So this is going to be really helpful with some of those energies we felt around when we had the moon there in that square to the sun in Libra, especially. Green tourmaline is a specialist healer for those who have issues with their father figure. And remember, we have that masculine energy healing coming through this week. Finding solutions and finalizing the issues for all concerned. It is worked with extensively in psychic surgery, able to heal the energy bodies, seal, align, and cut away that which is no longer needed, all while holding a high light frequency that delivers integrity into the work. And that's powerful because who knows, there may be those of us who are going to be receiving psychic surgery this week. And so if you are, green tourmaline is going to help that energy to integrate, I feel, and it's going to help you to get the full benefit of that, and also to open your heart to allow for that. And we don't always know when psychic surgery is happening. Sometimes we have experiences when these beings from the higher realms are working on us. We're aware. Sometimes it happens in our sleep and we don't even know that it's happening. All right, but that energy of green tourmaline is going to help with the integration of that. What else? Green tourmaline facilitates contact with ascended masters Paul the Venetian, Sananda, which is Jesus, and Jwal Kul. It is one of the most powerful Arcturian contact stones and can open records of the Delphic Oracle. So anyone working with the Arcturians or desiring more connection with the Arcturians, meditate with green tourmaline. At the physical level, green tourmaline works with all forms of nervous system imbalance, including insomnia, multiple sclerosis, spinal misalignment, and panic attacks. It has also been shown to help with chronic fatigue, exhaustion, hyperactive children, migraines, and lower immune function. So boom, right there, really great stone to have in your toolkit. If green tourmaline has come to you today, an incident, pathway, or issue has caught the attention of your higher self and called it to action, is this not perfect? Remain as open as possible and sit in a space of self-awareness as the answer or healing path is about to present itself. Be patient, compassionate, and non-judgmental of self at this time, and respect how hard you are working on a higher level to make the answer clear. This is a good time for automatic writing. Simply sit and ask for the solution from your highest part. Write and then later read what you have written. The doors of enlightenment are opening. This stone also presents when one is past an initiation or moved through a level spiritually. It is a symbol of achievement and the presence of your spirit. Yes, so that's just confirmation for somebody who feels as though you are going through or have just gone through a major initiation. You have. This is your confirmation that that is being recognized. If a father figure has passed recently, this card is a symbol of his presence and the opportunity to finalize the healing of any issue that was unfinished between you. And remember, the relationships that we have with the masculines in our lives, our fathers, and then other masculines as well, really help to shape our relationship to our own masculine energy. And so, and the same vice versa for the feminine energy, the mother, other feminine figures, other mother figures, all right? And so this is a great way to do healing of your own divine masculine, is by doing healing around your father, if there is healing to be done there, and other people, other father figures or influential masculines in your life. The affirmation is, I am enlightened. My spirit runs through all I do. And the two trinities here, and it says here, green tourmaline is a mineral of the heart, crown, and base chakras. It can also be placed at the third eye for migraine headaches. This card can be placed under a white candle to increase the frequency in a room, and may be placed under a glass of water to infuse it with the green ray's powerful healing ability. So that would be if you have the deck here. But there are two trinities here. We have a father issues healing trinity, and we have a migraine headache trinity. And so I'll put those in the description box below. Feeling like migraines, as well as insomnia, irritability, restlessness, anxiety, like we talked about, maybe a major ascension symptom that we are experiencing this week. And so this can help with that as well. Yeah. And Amazonite was on the bottom of the deck. I think it's still on the bottom of the deck from last week. So, yeah, we have that. We're not going to read into that. That was in the reading for last week, if you guys want to check on that. But really beautiful messages coming through with that green tourmaline energy to help support us through the upcoming week. I love you guys so much. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Drop a comment down below. All the likes, the shares, the subscribes, they really help to keep this channel growing and keep getting these messages out to more people. If you do feel compelled to donate, there are links down below to donate to the channel, which is always appreciated. But you just being here and sharing your time and your energy is the greatest gift, the greatest donation, and it is so appreciated. I love you guys so much. You are so beautiful. As I said, all my contact information is in the description box below. If you want to set up a one-on-one healing session with me, a one-on-one reading, any of the things that I do, please, please, please reach out to me. It is my honor and my privilege. And I will talk to you all very, very, very soon.